We've received quite a bit of interest in my free to be workshop, so to that effect, beneath this video is a link that will give you a description for the workshop, and we've also included a special discount. So if that's something you would be interested in, I would invite you to click that link, and I hope that you would find the course to be quite beneficial. It stands to reason that virtually no relationship is going to last forever. And when I say that, I mean there's going to be an end point to a lot of the relationships you have. Now, some of them, it's just because somebody moved away or different priorities took over and the relationship just kind of fades into the background. Other times, as you've had a relationship with someone, you realize, this just didn't really play out the way that I thought, and we need to move on, and it just kind of is a mutually agreed upon kind of a parting of ways. Other times, though, and this is where it comes in with the narcissist, the relationship may have become so toxic and so difficult and so strained that you just simply can't continue with that anymore, and it's like we need to break ties with each other, and we need to do it all the way. And when that happens, the narcissist is going to go into deep bitterness mode. They do not end relationships cleanly at all. In fact, within their minds, they may think something like, well, I am now going to become the punisher in chief. I've been injured. I've been insulted. I've been treated poorly. You're going to rue the day that you ever met me. And then they justify it by saying, I regret knowing you. I regret ever having been associated with you. And as a result, they're going to be very difficult in the aftermath of a relationship coming apart. Now, there's a strange mindset, if you will, that narcissists draw upon, and that is when narcissists feel pain, especially if it's a pain associated with rejection, inflicting pain becomes their go-to coping mechanism. Now, did you catch that? I feel pain, and the best way for me to get rid of my pain is to make you feel more pain. And so when that narcissist gets to the point of saying, oh, I so regret knowing you, then you can rest assured that what they're going to do is they're going to go into that pain-giving mindset. And I'm hoping that as you witness this and as you understand this to be the case, you can ask the question, well, what does this tell us about what's going on inside that narcissist? The more you understand where they're coming from, then the more objective you can be as you move forward, and you're not going to get pulled into their snares. So let's see if we can go into that question. What does this tell us about the narcissist? Now, first and foremost, we're going to say, well, narcissists are extremely judgmental. Or very early in their lives, they realize that there's a whole judgment grading system out there. And if you say or do something, somebody's going to put a grade on it. They're going to judge you for it. And so narcissists decided, well, there are times if I reveal who I am, it's not going to go very well. But what I'll do is, instead of me just having to receive judgment, I will become the one who pronounces judgment. And so they will use their history of having this mindset to their advantage, and you're going to be judged, and you're going to be judged very harshly. And by the way, facts don't really matter. All they want to do is make sure that you're in the low position. Somehow that allows them to become the permanent winner. And in addition to that, we're also going to say that when that narcissist says, I so regret knowing you, we're going to say that these individuals display an astonishingly low level of self-awareness. They have no psychological insights. I mean, for example, they're not going to say, well, the relationship has come to an end, and I need to take a look at my role in that too. They will not go into that space, even if they've been nasty with their anger, or they've been dishonest, or they've cheated on you, or they've messed with you behind your back in ways that have been very detrimental to you. Well, somehow it's your fault, and they don't introspect with respect to their role in it at all. They have a very poor memory about who they are and how they contributed to all of this. In addition, when they take this attitude toward you, it also illustrates, it tells us that these people are drawn to very authoritarianism, a very authoritarianism style of thinking toward you. In their mind, when they have this "I regret knowing you and I'm going to make you miserable" kind of an attitude, what they're basically saying is someone in this equation needs to set the record straight, and that's going to be me. And so they want to be the ultimate authority. They want to be the ultimate keeper of truth, when in fact there's often a very low level of truth in whatever they have to say. In addition, when narcissists react in this kind of way that we're talking about, it reveals, and I'm picking on low-lying fruit on this one, it reveals that they have astonishingly strong control issues. Now, see, let's just pull back and ask, is controlling another individual a really good strategy for successful relationships? And the answer is, of course not. No. In fact, their need to be in control is probably a strong contributor to the collapse of the relationship. And so rather than them thinking, that didn't work out too well, what they're going to do is they're going to double down on their control tendencies. And in doing so, they're just going to hold on to the idea that says, I've got to make sure that I control the narrative, and this is part of their smear campaign, and running you into the ground and treating you in whatever way they can to keep you in a beholden way toward them. That's how they think. In addition, and this is sad for us to have to say, when that narcissist comes at you saying, I regret ever knowing you, it's necessary for you to realize that for them, playing that regret and punishment card is invigorating. They actually like being in that position because it allows them to say, well, now's the time, if I'm ever going to seize on it, now's the time for me to show my power. Now's the time for me to show my dominance. I was born to dominate you, and you are going to see it in a strong kind of way. And so that kind of mindset is going to burst its way out. In addition, another thing that this tells us about the narcissist, and this is, to me, a terribly tragic kind of thought to hold on to, and that is, in their world, love doesn't exist. Instead, even if they originally may have told you in earlier years they love you, in their world, love doesn't exist. What they want is conformity. They want fealty. They want your deference. They want your blind admiration. But they never did love you, or if it's in a more of a business or social kind of situation, they didn't regard you because it's just not in their makeup to do so. One of my definitions of narcissism is, in fact, the absence of love. And you can take that and plug it into all of the other ingredients that we've talked about. That being said, it also tells us that they have no room for forgiveness, or at the very least acceptance of what's been going on there. In the narcissist mind, and this is tragic, but in the narcissist mind, they're thinking, I'd rather hate. Hate allows me to hold on to my superiority. Let's think about that. That's truly pitiable that someone would go in that direction. But the more they go with this, I regret you and I'm going to punish you kind of mode, that's what you're seeing on full display, their commitment to hate. And then in addition, we can also say that them holding on to their regret regarding you allows them to claim all of the psychological advantages, if you will, of being a victim. In their mind, they think, you owe me, you did me dirty, and I'm going to make you pay for the things that you have owed me for. You have so messed up my life. And again, no acknowledgement of their contributions. So understanding this about the narcissist and what they bring, let's recognize that no amount of pleading or appeasement from you toward them is going to make any difference. They need an excuse to be mean, and they've got the perfect setup for that when there's a rejection that's there. And so knowing that and understanding that, rather than getting tangled in trying to plead your case with them, your challenge is to become disentangled with your own internal strength intact. And there's certain truths that I want to see if we can zero in on that are going to help you in that regard. First thing let's understand, and that is reality is. Now, what I mean by that, as you move forward and get away from that narcissist, we're going to need to accept that's our reality. The truth is that this narcissist is very dysregulated, and I need to accept the truth about what they are. It simply is. Can you think that way? A second notion we're going to hold on to. Disillusionment is. And by that I mean you're going to have some real futile feelings and hurt and pain. And some people might say, oh, don't let it get to you. Well, it does. It gets to you. And let's let that be. It's okay for you to grieve and to feel frustrated and to be exasperated because that person is so dysregulated. Allow that to be a part of your grieving and moving on process. Now, going beyond that, though, we're also going to say inner strength is. Now, narcissists can't tap into theirs, which is why they put everything to the outside. They have to change everything out there so they can be okay. But you and I know that there is an internal strength that you can access. What would that look like? What would it mean for you to be drawing upon your own inner strength despite the narcissist's invalidation of you? Which then takes us to another truth that we can hold on to, and that is decisiveness is. The narcissist wants to keep you dysregulated by making you a constant reactor. And as long as they can have you playing off in this codependent kind of game with them, then they feel like they win. But when we say decisiveness is, we're going to say, no, what I'm going to do, instead of being a raw reactor, I'm going to be intentional in the way that I move away from this person. And so I'm going to have a mindset about who I am and where I'm going and what my values and priorities are going to be. And that narcissist, they are what they are. Reality is. And then we're going to take another truth and hold on to it. And that is freedom is. One of the things the narcissist wanted from you is to keep you inside their tight little box and keep you on their agenda. In other words, be what I tell you to be. Freedom means you have the privilege to choose. You always have had that as a core ingredient. Tap into that. What would it mean for you to be a free person, freely choosing what your priorities and your preferences are going to be, despite the narcissist's protest to the contrary? And then a final thought we're going to hold on to. Dignity is. The narcissist has very low appreciation for that. They want dignity, but actually what they want is your adoration. But the fact that they don't have a comprehension of your dignity doesn't eliminate the fact that it simply is there. It's yours. And you get to tap into that. What does it mean for you to be a person of dignity? Now, the narcissist at the end of a relationship can say, well, I regret knowing you and I regret ever being connected with you. And if I'm in your shoes, my thinking is going to be, well, it hasn't exactly been a bowl full of cherries for me either. But the difference is I'm going to continue growing and maturing, and I'm going to pick up on the many lessons learned. Be what you are. I'll see you later. Now, I hope that videos such as this can give you some good food for thought and some insight as to what you're dealing with. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so. Gus and I will keep more videos coming toward you. Watch them on a cumulative basis, and I hope it has a real educational value for you. So hit that subscribe button. In addition, I know that sometimes when you're dealing with this, therapy could be very helpful. You know that I've been sponsored for years by the people at BetterHelp.com. It's an online therapy resource, and you can choose from licensed professional therapists who can assist you in the process of breaking free with all of this. Go beneath the video. We have a link there that will take you to that. Please, if you have the need for therapy, access that and get the help that you so richly deserve. Likewise, I have my therapeutic courses, and these are like signing up for online classes. They're very extensive. I put a lot of work into these classes. Each class has at least 25 videos, and each video has written documents, guided questions. We have Ready, Set, Connect about connecting well with people. We also have This Is Me about establishing your boundaries, free to be finding yourself despite those controllers. We have my webinars. We have our Surviving Narcissism podcast. We have my books, plenty of resources. Okay, let's remember, when a breakup between yourself and a narcissist is happening, they're going to regret knowing you, and you're probably going to feel a whole lot of that in reverse. The difference between them and those of us here on Team Healthy is we are going to be committed to our own decency and steadiness, because ultimately, in the end, what you want to do is to be a person of peace.